All right. Thanks to those joining me live and to those that will be joining me on archive. Do another late night Q&A here. Been enjoying these, I gotta admit. Trying to find some stuff here. All right, guys. Gonna wait a little bit here. In the meantime, gonna bring up some stuff. First of all, first and foremost, okay, first and foremost, the chat is open. Feel free to ask boxing questions. You may even ask some UFC questions if you want from the UFC that just occurred, or just questions in general. Let's not get too off topic though. I don't want to stay, and I want to make sure this is a boxing conversation. Let me get this air on here, by the way. It is freaking hot out here. In the Southwest. It's almost midnight and it's freaking hot, man. Okay. How about the heat? How about that heat? All right. And I'm not talking about the basketball team, all right? So anyway, trying to get this up here so I have access to the chat, right? Riddle me this, riddle me that. Okay, there we go. I think I got access now. All right, I'm going to go ahead and open this up now. Somebody already got a question, so let's get right to it. Jesse Viveros. Mikey Garcia said he'll fight Keith Thurman. What do you think? Whoa. I haven't read that anywhere, but if he did say that, allegedly, can you give me the source, bro? Give me the source where you saw that. But if he did say that, what I think about that, I think it's a little too early. I think Mikey should stay at 140 for a few fights. I'd like to see him there for a few fights, man. At least 3-4 more fights. I'm liking when guys just jump over a division that fast, but I don't know if he's ready for 147. Okay, 147 is a whole other animal. So I don't know if like usually that jump, like especially guys coming from the lighter weights, that jump from 140 to 147. I mean, you're dealing with a whole other animal there. So I don't know if like that's those 7 pounds are a lot more than Mike is used to. It's the weights he went up gradually. Before that, it wasn't quite the 7 pounds. So to put, what's up, man? Need your take. Some blind McNugget fans. I think you're talking about McGregor. By the way, hold on. This is oh Jesus Christ. SHRHNS says, "What's up, man? Need your take. Some blind McNugget fans, aka McGregor, are saying Conor will try some destruction through chaos, and it will be effective against someone who's used to boxing stances like Mayweather. What the fuck does that even mean? Destruction through chaos. Like, all right. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay. I don't know what those McGregor fans mean by that. I don't. Destruction through chaos. Oh, is that the new way to say unorthodox? Is that what that is? Another way to say unorthodox? Rascalot, why are fans rushing Mikey to 147? Well, I agree. We shouldn't be rushing him. And I feel this way about every division. Let's see these guys stay in a division and try to be the king of a division. Mike hasn't even done anything yet at 140. What has he done? What, he beat Adrian Broner? Okay, good win. Good win. He's back in the saddle. All right, let's get another W. Let's get in the mix. Let's make 147 great again. I hate to say that, but let's do it. All right. There's a lot of great fights at 140. Right, for Mikey Garcia. No need to go to 147 yet. Let's win a real title first. I mean, I don't count the diamond title. This diamond belt championship as a real championship. Let's win a real title first, and then let's unify some titles, and see if you could become the man of 140. How about that? I would like to see him do that before moving up or thinking about moving up to 147. So, I really enjoy your content, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Feel free to leave some questions. Somebody put, this is SHRHNS again. What weapons of Mayweather do you think will hurt Conor the most? A straight right hand. Everything, actually. I mean, Floyd Mayweather Jr. has thrown a jab more than Conor has done anything in his life. Okay? Meaning, whatever, spinning wheel kicks, takedowns, any moves in grappling, any kickboxing moves, any boxing moves, whatever one thing you want to point out, Conor has not done any one thing more times than Mayweather has. Mayweather has thrown more jabs than Conor will ever throw in his lifetime. He's been throwing a jab since he was a little kid. He's been throwing a jab throughout the amateurs, while in training, while shadowboxing, in professional fights, in training camps, you name it, while doing road work. Floyd Mayweather Jr. has probably thrown a jab over 1,000,000 times. When Floyd Mayweather Jr. lands a jab on Conor McGregor, that thing's going to feel like a power punch, right? That's how it's going to feel to Conor, right? And for those that think he's going to be getting hit by pillows, right, keep in mind that a 10-ounce boxing glove is covering the fingers, it's covering the side of the hand, it's covering the wrist. The padding, okay, even the Mayweather gloves, okay, even those gloves, the padding on the knuckle at the point of impact is the same as an MMA glove. So don't get it twisted. This myth that, Conor's never been hit by something like that. The only truth is this, that the window of opportunity, the open window to hit a clean strike with a punch, it's a lot smaller in boxing than it is in MMA. And Conor's going to have a very difficult time, okay, boxing Mayweather in that 12-inch box. He's going to have a very difficult time with that. All right. But I think all the above, he's going to be hurt by everything. I hate to be that vague, but he is. But if you're looking for what's going to hurt him the most, the straight right hand. Okay. Everybody's talking about Conor's left. I mean, Floyd Mayweather's going to set up that straight right. I don't think it takes more than 30 seconds for Mayweather to land that right hand. I just don't. It's unless Mayweather's carrying him or something, but I think he's going to land it. He's going to land it early, and he's going to do some damage with it. I think McGregor's face is going to be red in the first minute of the fight. Last about fans are rushing fighters to move up. Yeah, stop rushing fighters. I want to see Mikey fight some top 140-pounders. That's what I want to see. Okay. Well, why is he talking about Keith Thurman anyway? Like, is he in that much of a rush to avoid like Crawford or something? Like that he wants to move up and weight and fight Keith Thurman? Like, what's going on? Well, hold your horses. You stay in that division, all right? I want to see him fight Terrence Crawford, all right? How about that? That's assuming Terrence Crawford wins his next fight, which I think he will. So to put us, if you believe this fight is real, you're clueless. I believe you're referring to Conor versus Floyd. I agree. But a lot of people do, apparently. Jesse Viveros put, I don't think Garcia can beat Crawford. That's a good fight. I don't like predicting fights unless the fights are signed, sealed, and delivered. That's a rule of mine that I made a couple months back. All right. Until a fight is official, I don't give my predictions on it. All right, but it's a good fight. I will say that. I know who I believe will win, but again, I'm not going to give you my prediction until the fight is signed, sealed, and delivered. What's up, Blood? It's not real. I know, man. I'm not stupid. Mayweather kills him. I'm glad. Raslot, Mike Garcia should stay at 140. He's not ready for 147. I agree. Mr. Doc, exactly. Never mind that pull counter, right, of Floyd's. Talking again about the McGregor fight. Yes, the pull counter. I don't even think Floyd's going to need the pull counter. Like, it's not that advanced. Floyd Mayweather is not going to have to pull some advanced moves in this fight. I honestly believe with some very basic boxing, he's going to just hurt McGregor. Look for that check lift hook again when McGregor leans in a lot with that left hand, especially as he's getting exhausted. I think that check left hook. Let's keep an eye on that one, and I think he's going to catch Conor with that a lot. Blood boxing put Crawford versus Garcia sounds good. I agree. Shout out to Indongo too. Definitely. I can't wait for that fight. We're going to unify all the titles. Garcia's so-called diamond belt doesn't mean shit. All right. I remember watching the weigh-in, and they give these guys these belts. I was glad that Adrian Broner didn't grab it and pose with it too, but what the hell is Garcia doing posing with that belt? I mean, they should have spit on that belt and thrown it in the trash and told the WBC to shove it up the ass. That's what they should have done. More fighters have to start doing that, okay? More and more fighters have, like, it's a fake belt, okay? I understand that maybe for a lot of fighters, oh, that green belt. Like, I want the green belt. I've always dreamed about it. Like, that's fine, but it's not even a real belt, right? It's not the real one. So I'm kind of disappointed that they paid a sanction fee for that. I mean, hey, it's his money, you know, whatever. But it definitely it's not so much the money or anything like that. Although you got to point that out, but it confuses the public, man. It makes people believe it's a title fight. It's another reason for people to say, is Mikey the champion of that division? And then you have to explain to them, no, he's not the champion of that division. So what's that belt about? Oh, it's just a diamond belt. It means nothing. So why are they holding it like that? Like they're proud of it? I don't know. You know, it just makes boxing look stupid. HARHNS again. They mean bum rushing Mayweather by destruction, by chaos. Still McGregor fans saying that. Yeah, McGregor fans are saying a lot of things. Rascalot, the most important thing in boxing right now is TC versus, that's Terence Crawford versus Ndongo, undisputed fight. I agree. I can't wait for that fight. That's a great fight. I got Crawford in that fight. Nothing against Ndongo, but I think Crawford is just that damn good. All right, I think Crawford is the goods. I think he's a real deal. I don't see anything stopping Crawford for a very long time. I understand that's kind of giving away the prediction that I said I want to give earlier, but that's all I'll say for now. Mr. Doc says to Blood Boxing, granted, I'm a proverbial lone nutter regarding Broner versus Garcia, but I think Crawford slaps Mikey around. As I said, I have no comment on that fight till the fight is signed. Gerald Miller, a.k.a. Butterbean, somebody says. Kind of lost there. Bloodbox says, how do you like Ndongo Chance style? I give him a... And again, I don't want this to come off like I'm dismissing the fight, that it's not an important fight, because it is, right? At the end of the day, my opinion is just my opinion, right? But Ndongo has a slight chance, but that's saying a lot, given how highly I am on Crawford. I think Crawford's going to win that fight, but Ndongo has a slight chance. He could pull off the upset. I don't think he will, but that's why they fight the fights. You know, it's definitely an important fight, though, and I don't want to, dismiss it, right? And I can't wait for the fight. It's going to be some. And once he unifies, hopefully Mikey Garcia will get in the ring with Crawford, who I believe will be the winner. And if Crawford's not the winner, then with Ndongo. But I can't wait for the fight. I'll say that. Mr. Doc, I was trying to instigate to Rascalot. All right, let's see. Mr. Doc put, for Floyd, that poke counter is basic. Well, he makes it look basic, that's for sure. He may hit him, but I just don't. I just think a lot of weapons are be kept in the holster. Let's just say that. I don't think he's going to have to get that creative with Conor McGregor. Somebody put, Rascalot, that is, Terence Crawford is about to make history. Well, let me tell you something, man. If you could unify those titles, especially in this day and age, I mean, it's so difficult to unify titles, man. It is. it's so difficult because everyone's against you. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep all the belts. I mean, right now, the WBC is giving Mikey that stupid diamond belt, which makes me think, you know, if for whatever reason that Crawford-Mikey fight doesn't get done, I wouldn't even be shocked if they strip Crawford. You know, they have Mikey fight somebody else for that championship. But make no mistake about it, we know what's up. If Crawford unifies, he's a real champion. And unless somebody beats Crawford, everybody else is nothing more than a title holder. All right, and I will hold that true. And the same, I don't think it's likely if Indongo wins as well. All right, let's see. Mr. Doc put, just to play devil's advocate. Uh-oh. The WBC treated the diamond belt a few years back. It was supposed to be for some kind of a specific achievement, like winning titles in X number of divisions. Actually, I'm not disputing what you're saying. They probably did say that because they always change their minds. But the first time I heard of the diamond belt, the first time ever, was when Miguel Cotto was going to be facing Manny Pacquiao. All right. And the official title on the line was, I believe, was a WBO. I believe it was a WBO championship, right? And it was at a catchweight, though. And I remember there was a big hoopla about that here on YouTube. And I know Blood remembers that. But that's when everybody was calling the pocket the catchweight bitch, something like that. All right. But anyway, the WBC got involved, right? So not only was the WBO title on the line for a 147 belt at 145, I believe the weight was. And by the way, Pacquiao and company wanted 143. They wanted it lower than that, right? And now, granted, he had already fought De La Hoya at 147. It's not like he hadn't fought it that way before. But for Cotto, you know, they had to, you know, they had that stipulation. But anyway, the WBC decided that they were going to introduce a diamond belt, right? And the diamond belt was specifically made for catchweight fights. That's when the diamond belt was introduced, or at least that's the first time I remember the diamond belt being out there. And of course, it was a big fight. And what did they do? They paid a sanctioning fee for it. I mean, it's retarded, right? And did the general public know that that wasn't the real WBC belt? Of course not. Of course they didn't know that, right? They thought it was for the actual belt, right? And whether we like it or we don't, the WBC belt is probably the most popular belt, and many feel it's the best looking belt. I mean, to me, it's like whatever, like how a belt looks. I don't care. But, you know, a lot of people, they have this fascination with the WBC belt, you know, and it's the most recognizable belt. It's the belt that I've noticed more fighters praise and most fighters talk about wanting, you know. And I remember Andre Ward saying he wants that green belt. Like, you know, it's when he took it from Froch. And so yeah. That's when I remember. They probably, you know, they'll say whatever they have to say to put more diamond belts out there and more sanction fees. That's for sure. And I'm trying to remember if anybody can remember who was it. I think Andre Berto was a real WBC champion at the time. All right, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, I believe it was Andre Berto at the time. All right, let's move on here. Rascal put the diamond belts pointless. I agree. Someone put, sorry that I keep asking questions about this. I'm a crossover fan from MMA to boxing, and that's a learning. LOL. I hope you can put up with me. Don't worry about it. That's what we're here. It's called Q&A. All right. Let's see. Miguel, 91230 put, what about Mikey versus Crawford? I want to see that fight. Let's do that fight. All right. I mean, honestly, even if Crawford loses to Ndongo, you can still make Crawford. It's not like Crawford's no longer a good fighter. Or you could still make that fight. I want to see Mikey versus Crawford. All right? Why not? Okay, we don't need to be talking about Mikey going up to Wade and fighting Thurman yet. Okay? Mr. Doc says they put up with me, so you're good. Let's see. Yeah, I remember that. Catchweight King, blood boxing. Someone put what belt was involved in the Floyd versus Judah fight? You know, I believe it was the IBF. I don't remember. I'll be a liar if but I believe it was one of them. What happened was Baltimore beat Judah, right? And Mayweather moved up and fought Judah. They stripped Baltimore, okay, of a title, or probably most of them, and because they were already unified. Judah had unified him against Spinks, I believe, right? And yeah, but then Floyd went on to fight Baltimore, so there you go. But Judah, I don't know. Did Judah have a fight after the Baltimore loss, or did he just fight Mayweather right after that? I don't remember. You know, I don't. I hate going to BoxRec and stuff for these Q&As, so it is what it is. Amir Kujovic, I hope I didn't butcher your name. Sending a couple questions all the way from Australia. Thoughts on Joseph Parker and the heavyweight division in general? I thought it's been a little more interesting compared to previous years. It definitely has been more interesting. Okay. Joseph Parker, I think I've seen one of his fights, so I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, yeah, I'm a big fan. Okay. But I think, one of his fights. I would like to see him in the ring with Deontay Wilder. I think that's a good fight, but I don't know. There seems to be some issues there. But just to answer your question in general, the heavyweight division is definitely exciting right now compared. Okay, I'm not going to sit and say, oh, we're in a golden age of heavyweights, because we're not. All right, but it's definitely just more exciting. It's nothing against the Klitschko's. I'm well known to be a big Klitschko fan, right? But when we had the two-headed dragon ruling over the division, not only did we have a two-headed dragon, think about it. I understand they were brothers, but they weren't fighting each other, right? And then even though Vitaly retired, we still have Vladimir up there dominating. So it was the Klitschko era, right? They kept all the title fights over there in Germany, where they were selling out stadiums and making millions of dollars. So I'm not going to fault him for that. But it definitely kept the title out of, title fights out of America. It squeezed interest outside of the United States, or in the United States, that is. And this country kind of no longer cared about the heavyweights. But now little by little, I think they're trying to gather some interest, and things are getting interesting. At the very least, we have controversies, we have fights that we want to see, and we're frustrated about not happening, of course, but nonetheless, we have fights that we could talk about. For a while, just think about it. It's Klitschko was dominating. We got excited when they cruiserweight and Adamek and another one and David Hay moved up to challenge them. We were happy with anything at that point. And it didn't go good for any one of those guys. Okay, but I think the heavyweight division is it's good right now. All right, it's active. It has a long ways to go to be back where it was, even in the 90s, late 90s, mid 90s, early 90s. It's nowhere near what it was in the 80s, okay? And I don't think it'll ever be what it was in the 70s, but it doesn't have to be, as long as we got, compelling fights, as long as we have interesting fights and exciting fights. That's all we can ask for. One thing we had this year in that Vladimir Klitschko versus Anthony Joshua fight is an all-time great fight, and I hope Vladimir retires. Okay, I hope he retires, because even though it's in a loss, look, I think Josh is going to be around for a long time. I think he's going to be dominating for a long time. And if you retire now, people will look back and say, "Hey, that Klitschko, man, he was old and he gave Josh a better fight than most of these young guys." right? And I think that's going to look good on Klitschko. So I hope he retires, but you know, pride is a hell of a thing, so he probably won't. Mr. Doc, if Crawford beats Ndongo and doesn't move up, can Crawford give undisputed titles more quote-unquote value than they have at the moment under the old axiom of the fighter makes or tarnish the, you know, the belts or titles? Yeah, it can, but I think the problem here is that we have an undisputed title fight and no one's talking about it, right? And it looked at, obviously I'm guilty of that, okay, um, but most importantly, those who I believe it's their duty to, like the boxing press, isn't talking. Isn't doing videos about this shit. Yeah, Ali Setback still doing videos about what sandals somebody's wearing, shit like that. Okay, ESPN isn't talking about this undisputed title fight. Because Stephen A. Smith says he's a big boxing fan, he doesn't talk about this fight. You know, it's just the fight game with Jim Lampley. Is that shit even still like? Is it still a thing? I don't know if it's not, but they're not talking. Max Kellerman isn't talking about it. You know, so all these so-called boxing people aren't talking about it. You know, and I think it's a shame. But that's out of Crawford's control. The only thing Crawford can control is getting the win, getting those belts. And then once he's undisputed, you know, if he could get fights with guys like Mikey Garcia and establish dominance there, they'll have no choice but to refer to him as undisputed champion, right? And even though he's not getting the praise now and the attention right now, you know, I will remind people, Bernard Hopkins wasn't getting all the attention either when he was collecting the belts. Now, the difference is Bernard actually collected even all the small belts, like the little insignificant belts and that, you know, these little sanctioning bodies that nobody recognizes. He even collected those, right? Bernard, he just collected everything. Like whatever he saw a belt, he got it, right? And when he finally got the WBO from De La Hoya, right, which De La Hoya quote unquote won for Stern, although it was controversial. At that point, nobody could deny it. Nobody could deny that he was undisputed champion, and that was an achievement. So even though they didn't cover it, you know, even though it wasn't any of that, of course, beating De La Hoya, giving more attention. You know, so Crawford isn't beating somebody that popular, but nonetheless, I think with time he will get that credit, right? At least with hardcore fans, he'll get it. As far as with the casual fans, look, casual fans, a lot of this, look, this is boxing's fault for the most part. But if Crawford has all the belts, all right, you know, they're already confusing people because they gave Mikey a fucking diamond belt, right? But if Crawford could get all the belts, it'll be a lot easier to explain to a casual fan, he's the man. No one else has any belts. He literally is undisputed, right? So that's what I think of that. Mr. Doc put that I think the WBC belt is the most recognizable. Damn, you beat me to the D style. Okay, there you go. Bloodbox put, yep, we were laughing back in those days. Those days were cool, man. I missed the feature. We could just reply directly to each other through videos. Mr. Doc put, those WBC green belts are the first ones I remember seeing as a kid. You know, something that they did, and this is brilliant marketing by the WBC, okay? If you noticed, they don't put the belt on the waist of the fighters. Have you noticed that? They put it across their whole body, right? That they've always done that. And that you can miss that because most interviews are done from the waist up, right? So even when the other belts are put like underneath or on the waist, that is, the WBC title just stands out. You know, it's, you know, they kind of make it look like one of those things generals wear in war and shit. You know, it's just, it's, you know, very, very tactical. And I think it's brilliant the way they do it. And I think that's the reason most people remember the WBC belt. Wrestler put Judah's best win was versus Spinks. Let me think. Yeah, I agree with that. Especially with what he accomplished by beating Spinks. That was a very good win for Zab Judah. Very good win for him. I believe he's the only one that knocked out Spinks at 147, I believe. HANS, I don't know if what he's doing is even allowed in boxing. Okay, that's to the comment. Your thoughts on McGregor hiring Joe Cortez in his camp? I really want to see those pics on his Twitter. I give your opinion on it. I saw the pictures. Look, honestly, when you look at Joe Cortez, he doesn't look all that concerned. All right, it's these pictures that Conor's putting on social media. Right, I'm not buying it. I'm just not. Okay, it's like, all right, you know, he probably is messing around with a guy. Like, there's actually footage, you guys can look it up, of Conor. He's sparring one of his Irish friends. I believe the guy's Irish, some amateur boxer or something like that. And then like he takes him down and then like pretends to be ground and pounding him, but he's really not doing it. All right. Letting them back up and they're just having fun. So it's probably something like that. It's nothing serious. Mr. Doc put, I thought Judah got to keep one of his belts even though he lost. Kind of like Lebedev. Did he recently when he lost to Murat Gassiev? But first of all, Americans need to start winning more. Right, because I'm tired of pronouncing his names. Right, more Western fighters. That includes England and all that. They gotta win more. All right, I'm joking. All right, but anyway, I don't remember. Like, look, I don't remember if Judah kept the belt because he lost, or I believe talking about after he lost to Baldomir. It's possible if Baldomir didn't pay a sanctioning fee or some shit. It's politics. One of the things that turns people away from boxing. What are you gonna do? More talking about that fight. More about Judah Spinks. Mr. Doc put, especially after how HBO commentary crew did Spinks when he fought Taylor, the Sky commentaries sound like they were watching a different fight. Yeah, man, I think Spinks put up a great fight against Jermaine Taylor. He fought the fight he had to fight. Some people felt he won. I mean, but yeah, it's HBO totally shit on Spinks, that's for sure. They never put him back on TV ever again. The picture of Conor McGregor, just another day for me. Look, Conor McGregor's going to keep posting pictures. The pictures mean nothing to me. I'm going to be honest with you. They don't mean anything. Okay, you can go. I could take pictures of that Garcia-Broner fight, and I could post 10 pictures that are going to make it seem like Broner was dominating Garcia, right? So it's the pictures, honestly. Not for nothing, but they don't mean anything to me. All right. More about Spinks. Everybody's all high on Spinks today. Well, what's going on? There used to be a guy on here on the YTBC back in the day who was a huge Spinks fan. I never seen a guy be such a huge Corey Spinks fan. It was insane. I mean, this dude, like, he could. I mean, when he talked about Corey Spinks, his eyes will light up. I mean, Corey was the best thing ever to him, Junkie G Funky 84, that is not Junkie G Funky 84. What's up, dude? What's up, bro? Mr. Boxing today to wrestle out. Yeah, I remember watching the Spinks versus Taylor fight. If Spinks had won, I think Mayweather would have tried to fight him. You know what? He probably would have. Who knows? Mr. Doc put, and even if then, I don't remember Ali wearing the WBC out more than a couple of times. The Richard Dunn fight being the first time. Yep. Mr. Boxing to Mr. Doctor, Mr. Boxing today, I actually wanted to see Floyd versus Spinks. I think Floyd would have wiped the floor with him, but that's my opinion. Mr. Doc DStyle, would Prime Corey Spinks have a chance against Floyd at 147? I spoke too soon. Nah, I don't think. I think Floyd's too much for Spinks, to be honest with you. To be honest, Corey Spinks makes Floyd look like a fucking power puncher, right? SHRHNS, but a lot of criticism that comes from MMA fans is the multitude of belts in boxing. What is the belt system like, he asks. Holy shit. All right. The alphabet belts. All for the long, I don't know how fast I can kind of run this down, but for the longest time, through the New York Commission especially, we had one sanctioned title, right? I mean, throughout history, there's been disputes in weight classes of who the real champion was. Okay, but boxing, when it really became very organized, especially like in the 50s, 60s, especially in lower weight classes, it was pretty established who the actual champions were, right? The lineage of that is, you could kind of link it to the WBA. So that's what the WBA belt is. But, it's things happen, okay? Another just politics or whatnot, okay? I believe it was the WBC that came after that and was crowning a different champions, and then from there, with politics involved in Don King, the IBF came out of there, came from the ashes. Smaller sanctioning bodies that very few people recognize over time because of certain fighters got more recognition, right? The WBO is a good example of that. Okay, the WBO, when Thomas Hearns won the WBO championship, it wasn't considered anything. It would be like what we consider the IBO or the WBF today, but these sanctioning bodies are their business, and it's whether it was Ray Mercer winning their heavyweight version of the championship and he was a gold medalist, and whether it was Oscar De La Hoya early in his career, while he was fighting up the ranks, fighting WBO champions who were considered the weak champions, all right? And because he was so popular, and it's just one of those things. And before you know it, they just become more established. So as of right now, the four major bodies right now are the WBA, the WBC, the IBF, and the WBO, right? The IBO is ever since guys like Ricky Hatton and Klitschko held on to those belts. I don't think it's really gone anywhere, but guys still hold those belts. All right. I remember when on Rope a Dope Radio we were interviewing, not me, but I believe Joe Habib was interviewing Zab Judah, since we're talking about him. Joe actually praised him, but by saying, hey, you were undisputed champion at 147. No one really gives you credit for that. And then Zab Judah interrupted him and said, oh, don't forget, at junior middleweight, he said that, I forgot the name. It was like the IBC or some shit like that. Like an organization I never heard of. I never heard of this organization. But Zab Judah wanted credit for this organization we've never heard about. All right? I mean, this is insane. The IBC, I believe he said. The IBC. Has anybody even heard of the IBC? Right? And by the way, the movie The Fighter, it's a good movie, but very inaccurate. All right? Mickey Ward never won an actual sanctioned belt, like one of the major bodies. Okay, that sanctioning body, it's the WBU or whatever the fuck it is. It's not the movie makes it seem like that's a legitimate world title, and it's not. Right? But anyway, yes, boxing has a lot of championships, and then on top of that, interim champions and diamond champions and super champions and silver champions and champions emeritus and champions this, and champions who have grandmothers, and champions for walking dogs, and champions of good hearts and goodwill, and champions participation trophy champions, and we got champions for all that, and it's I'm obviously exaggerating, but it's definitely a mess. And then when you equate that with the amount of divisions we have, of course, guys are 4-division world champions. Like it's insane, right? Anyway, all right. Let's see here. Mr. Doc, but UFC has a structure boxing can only dream of, and he added the LOL. The UFC does have a structure. The problem is, and I'm seeing some eradications of it now, it has its problems, but make no mistake about it, it's way better than the boxing structure. It's impossible to set up that structure in boxing, unfortunately. It is kind of strange that a promoter is also the sanctioning body. Yeah, that is strange. Okay, but nonetheless. Okay, nonetheless, they definitely have a very good structure, and it's definitely helped the popularity of the sport. Far less confusion. Okay, no one's confused on who the light heavyweight champion is. Like, they know it's John Jones, right? There's no confusion on who the champions are. Yes, once in a while they'll have an interim champion, but it doesn't last. Like, eventually they fight each other. Like, it doesn't last more than a year and a half, So where in boxing, I mean, we have multiple champions for such a long period of time, and it's very annoying. No, it's not like territories. It's just, although their main offices may be from certain areas. Whether I believe the WBO, I could be wrong, but is the WBO Germany? I'm not sure. And then the WBC is in Mexico, so they're just in different places. One's, I believe, in Puerto Rico, but it's what are you gonna do? Mr. Doc put a little bit, but mainly it's like 4 different crime rings, well, something like that. They're like they're like the mafia. You know how the mafia will show up to people's businesses and tell them you got to give them a cut, or they're not going to be able to run that business for long. Well, it's something like that. It's something like that. Mr. Boxing Today, Spinks, Winky, Forrest, 3 guys that wanted to see Floyd fight about 10 years ago. There is no way, let me tell you this, and I don't care if Floyd Mayweather Jr. fans get mad. I don't give a fuck. There is no way, and listen to me, no way Floyd Mayweather Jr. fights Vernon Forrest. There's no way. Let's say Vernon Forrest never loses to Mayorga, all right? I believe he would have beat Spinks, all right? And Judah, right? There's no way he fights Vernon Forrest. With that said, I would have loved to have seen those fights, but especially the Winky Wright and Forrest fight. But I'll stand by that. Good list, though. Mr. Doc wants to see Lara versus Floyd. Well, I talked to you about that. I don't know about that one. All right. Mayweather versus Vernon Forrest was a fight I wanted to see back in the day, says G-Funk84. I agree. Especially after he spanked Mosley. I agree with Doc. Lara would have been a great fight for Floyd, says G-Funk84. I disagree. Mr. Doc says agreed, but let's be honest, a casual fan's nightmare. G-Funk says for sure. Look, man, I'm as hardcore of a boxing fan as you can get, man. I would have hated to see that fight. Mr. Boxing Today says Mercer had to earn that WBO strap. Comeback win from Francesco Damiani. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm sure he earned a belt, but he did. Would you not agree that he helped legitimize the WBO? You know, I think he did, along with De La Hoya as well. It took time, but it got legitimized. Mr. Boxing says, too many champs today. Mr. Doc says, some would argue Aram is the WBO. Well, you could say that. That's right? Because he was promoting Oscar De La Hoya's career, especially when he was coming up the ranks with that WBO belt. I specifically remember, like, one of the biggest criticisms De La Hoya had, from the, like, if there was any, was that De La Hoya was fighting the weak champions because he was fighting for the WBO titles, and avoiding the legitimate threats on his way up, right? And the WBO title was forever known. Like I still remember, like in Spanish, whenever a guy became undisputed, right? When a guy became undisputed, they called it las tres coronas. They called it the three crowns, right? The three crowns. So nobody took the WBO serious for a while. I guess son las cuatro coronas now. It's four crowns now, apparently. It's like Game of Thrones. You see, that's how boxing is. It's like Game of Thrones. Like you have like the king in the north, and then you have the king of the south, and the king of the reach, and the king of the seven kingdoms, and then the foreign queen and all that. Like that's how boxing is, right? At one point, now you wouldn't even believe this. At one point, the middleweight division had Sergio Martinez from Argentina, right? He was from he was from South America. He was champion emeritus or whatever they called it. You had Chavez Jr., Mexico, North America, right? You had I forgot the Australian guys. What's the Australian dude? He was a middleweight champion too, right? You had Felix Sturm, Europe. See how I'm going here? And you had Priov, okay, Russia, which would be Asia. We had a freaking champion in every fucking continent, right? I mean, only in boxing. Like, Game of Thrones. It's insane. And it's the same thing, too. The cutthroat, stab you in the back, that's boxing, right? Buying off judges, the whole night. Mr. Doc, is it a fair criticism of top-ranked WO, or is it exaggerated to some degree? Now, I agree with you to a certain degree. They're not literally the WBO, but they might as well be, yeah. They're boxing today. The WBC's champion emeritus is annoying, too. Vitaly is still champion emeritus. Is he? Good. Does he have to die, like, to no longer be champion? So if Vitaly came back today, does that mean he's WBC champion again? How does that work? Like, what? Never got that. Never got that. Yeah, they're talking about that same thing. Mr. Boxing today put, it's a damn near lifetime achievement award for Vitaly at this point. Is it? I mean, that's insane, bro. I mean, holy shit. Mr. Doc, but granted, anecdotal, but in my little circle of friends, the WBO middleweight and super middleweight titles were legit when the UK had that Eubank Senior Bank Ben Collins Watson scene. Yeah, well, I could see that. Didn't Joe Calzaghe have the WBO title? Right? He held that for a while. He didn't have any other title but that one for a long time. I believe. I could be wrong, but I believe it was WBO. All right, LOL, but it was still just those WBO belts. Well, there you go. DStyleBoxing Marquez, Barrera, Morales, who had the better career in your opinion. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. A lot of people will say Marquez, but let me tell you something. Erase the Pacquiao fights. What did Marquez really do? Like, you know, like, I'm just saying, like all bullshit aside, well, what did he do? Like at featherweight, like what did he do? Um, like he lost to Chris John, although some can say he should have won, but nonetheless, his career was very mismanaged for a while, and he had that draw with Pacquiao, and then he kind of was under the scene for a while. Marquez was kind of like Lennox Lewis. He bloomed in the later point of his career, and similar. Marquez was the man at lightweight for a while. He was the lightweight king, and then he still went back down to lightweight even after he lost to Floyd and had those wars with Juan Diaz, Caceres. But I mean, I don't know, man. Morales had a run, man. Like it may have been like a shooting star, but he had quite of a run. So did Barrera. I mean, it's close. I'm gonna say Marquez because of longevity, but I also say that fuck Barrera. Like he go suck a dick. Uh, Chief Fuck 84. Mayweather versus Corte. Another one I wanted to see. When would that have taken place? I'm trying to think because Corte had moved up to 154 years ago when he lost to Vargas. So I don't know if that fight was ever possible. Like I'm trying to think, but I don't know if that fight was ever possible. But if you're saying like as far as if you can get the welterweight Corte and the welterweight Floyd, yeah, sure, I would have seen the fight. SHRH and it says, who do you guys consider the GOAT in boxing? I know it's subjective, but still. Well, to me, it's Sugar Ray Robinson, right? I would say Sugar Ray Robinson. Look him up. Mr. Boxing today, Vitaly would get an immediate title shot at a Wilder. Would he? And that's to the question about him being champion emeritus still. The guy's still a fucking champion till this day. All right? It's insane. Mr. Doc, yep, Kawasaki fought Eubank Sr. to win the WBO 168. Eubank was a late replacement, but I can't remember who for. D-Style, is it possible the World Boxing Super Series or something like it could realistically replace the belts? I don't know if anything will ever replace the belts, to be honest with you. You mean as far as determining who the best is? I think organically people are just doing that on their own. It used to be that if you had the belt, you were the best. Now that doesn't quite mean that. It doesn't quite mean that. But it doesn't mean champion anymore. But it can. It just depends how much attention it gets. It just depends. Who am I to say it won't? But hey. Mr. Boxing today, the GOAT for me, by the way, that stands for greatest of all time, is Ali. He's definitely the greatest heavyweight in my opinion. Even though, I mean, he lost a chunk of his prime for not going to Vietnam and all that, but I've always wondered if he would have gone to Vietnam, wouldn't he have lost a chunk of his time anyway? But I'm not sure, probably less. Who knows what type of records Ali would have today if it wasn't for that whole draft situation, But I definitely agree he's the best of all time heavyweight. But in Ali's own words, he's the best heavyweight of all time, but pound for pound, the best of all time is Sugar Ray Robinson. Chief Funky 84 said Ray Robinson to go for me. Mr. Doc says, but also put a bit of an asterisk on it because I don't know my boxing pre-60s like that. I believe you're co-signing Ali the best of all time with an asterisk. I think he's the best heavyweight of all time. It's you can make an argument for the fighters, but Ali fought some tough opponents, man. Some of the contenders he beat. I mean, this was in an era with one champion, and it's that resume. It's hard to compete with that resume at heavyweight. It's very tough. It's he literally fought in 2 eras. I mean, it's insane. And he fought some unbelievable fighters and beat them. So. Mr. Boxing Today asked, have you done a GGG versus Canelo breakdown yet? Not yet. I've told people that I want to pick Canelo, and I'm close to picking Canelo, but I'm not ready to yet, right? I know. Come on, make up your mind, DStyle, but it's not yet, right? I'm going to get very heavy because there's going to be a lot of videos coming about that fight, especially after this Conor McGregor Mayweather circus is over, right? Because that's getting so much attention right now, and once that circus is over, everyone's focus is really going to shift on Canelo versus GGG, and this channel is going to get heavy on that. But I will say that it's going to be dynamite, that fight. Mr. Doc, and I know there's tons of dudes with ridiculous numbers of fights and achievements. I think you're talking pre-60s. Look, man, it's very subjective when you say who's the best of all time. Me personally, I say Ray Robinson, but look, at the same time, different eras, right? It's different eras. To me, it's kind of like it's not the same sport, right? But it's not the same sport, but there's something I like that Jordan said, and he said, hey, all I could do, I'm paraphrasing, by the way, right? So I'm not quoting verbatim, but I think he said something like, they asked him, are you the best of all time? Something like that. And he said, all I could do is play in my era. I'm the best of my era. I didn't play against those other guys, and he mentioned Chamberlain and all that, and said they were the best of their era. So, I can call Robinson the best of all time, but he didn't fight a lot of guys outside of his era because he couldn't. We don't have a time machine, so different eras, different times. Obviously, Joe Louis is the king of his era, and everybody had their era, and Jack Johnson, everyone has their significance and their importance in the sport and help build the sport to what it is. And, what can you do? It's hard. It's hard. Me personally, I like saying this is the best of his era and just sticking to that. If you look, you could look at it like kings, it's like King George and King James. They had their rule during their time, and that's it, Mr. Boxing Today said, yes, Ali did say that about Ray. Ali fought and beat killers in his prime and post-prime. Yes, he did. Chief Funk 84 said, D-Style, what's your top 10 fighters right now? Currently, not all time. Oh, man. You're asking me to give you basically a top 10 pound for pound list. Look, right now, I can't give you 10 right off the top of my head, but I'm going to tell you who I believe is the best fighter pound for pound in the sport right now, and that's Terrence Crawford. I believe Terrence Crawford is the best fighter in boxing pound for pound right now. You know, and there's other guys out there that are very talented, but they just got to build a resume. It's Lomachenko. I'm high on him. He's talented, but he's got to build a resume. You know what I mean? It's these guys got to start fighting each other, man. I'll say that. Mr. Doc, if Golovkin beats Canelo and takes on Charlo in WBC mandatory, how good do you think that fight is? Well, it's if he beats him, so I'm glad you capitalized and put caps on the if. All right. But yes, if Canelo beats, I mean, that's Golovkin versus Charlo. Man, that's a good fight. Charlo's got power. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting, but I don't know if Charlo's ready for GGG yet. I don't know if he's ready, man. I think he needs a couple more fights. I don't think he's fought someone who can hit like that yet. Right? Personally, but I'll love to see it. I don't know if he's ready for Jacobs either, but it's another fight I'd love to see. Jacobs versus Charlo. But personally, I hope Jacobs can get the rematch, though. I think he deserves that rematch against Gennady Golovkin. Billy Joe Sanders. I'd rather see. I think Charlo can beat Billy Joe Sanders, to be honest. I think he can beat him. Let's see here. Hulk Hogan, what's up, brother? You think Mikey Garcia should stay at 135 or 140? 140. 140. 135 sailed, man. It sailed. Mr. Doc Hulkster, I think Mikey needs to stay south of 140, brother. What's your thoughts on today's heavyweight scene? Ask Mr. Boxing Today. By the way, make sure you subscribe to Mr. Boxing Today. Great boxing channel. Great heavyweight boxing content. Look, to me, and I think I think that you got guys in the mix. There's a lot of matchmaking that could happen. And yeah, I understand that some fights aren't happening, and why is this guy not fighting this guy? But that's a problem, but it's a good problem compared to what we had a couple years ago, where Klitschko was dominating, and that was about it. At least that was the perception. That's the way it felt. Right now, at the very least, we got matchups. It's like I said earlier. I don't think it's not a golden age for the heavyweights. I'm not going to say it's the 70s again or the 80s, the 90s, okay, or anything like that, or anywhere close to that. But it's definitely interesting. It's interesting, and people are talking about the division more, and we're seeing more fights on TV from heavyweights, where it seems like they were getting away from the heavyweight scene for a while, or the only time you saw heavyweights was when Klitschko was fighting. So it's a mix, man. They're in the mix. That's kind of the way I see it. That there's fights that could be done, and then we also have some talented guys, man. I mean, Anthony Joshua's a very talented fighter. I think he could still get better. I think he's only gonna get better. He's in his prime. He's a phenomenal fighter. Athletic, explosive, knockout power. You got Deontay Wilder with knockout power. Like you have what you want in heavyweights, man. And that's what people want to see. They want to see power. They want to see explosiveness. They want to see knockouts. And right now, you're getting that in the heavyweight scene. And I'll say this: that Klitschko Joshua fight, right? I haven't seen just casual fans talk about a fight from the heavyweight division and give it such high praise in a long time. It speaks volumes to me when, casual dudes that casually watch boxing, like a Joe Rogan, okay, are tweeting out, "Oh, what an unbelievable fight! One of the best fights I've ever seen." Right? I mean, that speaks volumes. So, um, I think I want to see some more fights happen, obviously, but that's a boxing problem. It's not a heavyweight exclusive problem. But at least it's getting interesting. That's what I'll say. Go on, G Funky. Hulk Hogan, do you ever think there'll ever be only one champion per division? Look, when the fans reach a consensus and fans become more aware of the sport, we won't have to let the sanctioning bodies tell us who the best is. We'll know. All right. Um, and what I mean by that is, like, Crawford, if he unifies here, he's a 140-pound champion. And I don't care, what happens from there. I don't care if he gets stripped and they have someone else fight for one of the championships. When the fans acknowledge and the media acknowledge that guy's not a champion, you know, that's what it's going to take. But as far as if you're asking, are we ever going to have just one sanctioning body around? Is it possible? I guess, but not anytime soon. Like, not anytime soon. Leonard Allerby. Well, first of all, Mr. Doc, really quick. I agree Jacobs earned a rematch, but how much longer do you think Golovkin has before he's too old and for the likes of Charlo and Jacobs? Well, I mean, Golovkin's getting up there, but he hasn't, like, taken beatings. He hasn't, sustained, like, a lot of injuries or something that I'm aware of. Or I think Golovkin still has another 3-4 years in boxing. I personally feel. I think mid 30s, late 30s just isn't what it was, years ago. It just isn't. I think 40 is a new 30, to be honest. Maybe not quite. Maybe 35 is a new 30, but you know what I mean. They're saying about GG showing his age. Well, we'll see, man. I mean, is he showing his age, or is Jacobs just a far better fighter than some of the other guys he's been fighting? That's what I think. Leonard Allerby, talking about heavyweights, did you hear Big Baby Miller saying that he isn't willing to travel to UK to fight Wyatt or AJ? Thoughts on that? I mean, if Big Baby Miller said that, then it's his problem. Like, well, why is he too big or too much of a name or too important to go to the UK? I mean, that's kind of stupid. If the money is right and the title implications are involved, he'll travel to Mars. He's just high on his win on on his win Saturday. I agree with Mr. Boxing today. They put 6 figures, 7 figures in front of his face. He's going to go to the UK, and he'll also say, "How jump do I high? How high do I jump?" Top 5 dream matchups. Now, as far as fights that can happen today, or just in general, like fantasy matchups. I'm not sure what you mean, Hulk Hogan. But today, I want to see Wilder versus Joshua. Okay, I think that would be a big fight. Crawford Garcia, Mikey, that is. One-time Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence. Ward versus Stevenson. That's another fight I love to see. And well, you know, Mayweather versus Errol Spence, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. Fantasy all time. Wow. Tyson Ali, who doesn't have that under fantasy. Um, De La Hoya versus Sugar Ray Leonard at welterweight. Both in their prime, obviously. All these fights in their prime. Oh, man. James Toney versus Bernard Hopkins at middleweight. Sugar Ray Robinson versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. at welterweight. And Julio Cesar Chavez versus Roberto Duran. So to put a Hagler versus Hopkins. I was going to say that, but I thought about James Toney. You know, you know, it's. But you could put Hagler Hopkins there. Sugar Ray Leonard versus Floyd at welterweight, I think is interesting. Sugar Shane Mosley against Roberto Duran at 135 is very interesting. Leonard Al be asking me again, Canelo versus Gennady Golovkin. I'm not giving my official prediction yet, but I will say it's going to be a very exciting fight. Oh, Marquez versus Morales. I know I gave you more than 5, but Juan Manuel Marquez versus Eric Morales at 126. I think that's. Who do you guys think wins that fight? At 126 pounds, Eric Morales versus Juan Manuel Marquez. That's a fight that should have happened. I think Morales beats him at 126, but I'm interested to know what you guys think. Chief Funky 84 says Marquez. Come on, Mr. Boxing Today and Mr. Doc. Who wins that fight? 126. There's the prime Eric Morales here versus Marquez. Was really good at 126 too. If you could pick any lightweight from the last 2 decades to face Duran on pay-per-view, 15 rounds, would it be Sugar Shane Mosley? Believe it or not, Sugar Shane Mosley at lightweight versus Roberto Duran. Mr. Boxing Today just wants to piss me off today. It's all good. It's you know, Marquez ain't a bad pick. Shane Mosley. Shane Mosley versus Duran at lightweight. Come on. Believe it or not, I have Mosley. Believe it or not. Now, don't get it twisted. I don't think Mosley has a better overall resume. I don't rate him an all-time lightweight or anything like that. But I think Mosley beats Duran at 135. Mosley was a beast at 135, man. I don't care what anybody says. And he moved up, man. He battered a prime De La Hoya. Like and De La Hoya was no joke in 147. Well, I think Duran beats Mayweather. Styles make fights, you know. $15 rounds. You got Mosley. I don't think it goes 15 rounds. Believe it or not. First of all, Mosey was weighing like 100 and I mean, it was almost a middleweight, like when he was fighting at 135 in the ring. You know, now if you impose same day weigh in, then the fight's not really possible. But like I'm just saying, Durant beats Saloya. Yeah, I agree with that. At lightweight, at welterweight he beats him. Even at lightweight for sure. Yeah, I agree with that. Shane could crack. Yeah. Is nobody gonna pick Morales versus Marquez? No one. Like nobody at all. Marquez. I mean Morales, man. The reach, the height. I mean, just the jab. He had better footwork than Marquez. You know, I'm kind of surprised nobody's picking Morales. I think Duran beats Chavez. I believe that. What about this? At 100 and well, let's say at 140. Let me do a random fight here. Um, man, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. Is that 140 now? I'm trying to think of somebody today. Like, what about Chavez Sr. versus Manny Pacquiao at 140? The Pacquiao that knocked out Ricky Hatton. Somebody put Pryor over Pac. Yeah, I go with Pryor. Mr. Doc, Marquez too good a counter puncher versus down the line punchers like Morales, in my honest opinion. And Morales would bring the food to Juan Manuel Marquez. I think Morales turns it into a brawl, to be honest. And Marquez would oblige. Chavez is Pac all day, says G Funky. Hulk Hogan, Chavez. Pryor would smash Pac, bro. Yeah, I agree with that. Chavez, I agree. Chavez wins. I think it's a war, to be honest with you, but I think Chavez wins that fight. Manny Pacquiao, he doesn't like getting hit to the body, right? He does not like getting hit to the body. And Chavez would hit him to the body, all right? I don't think Pacquiao would knock out. There's no chance. He doesn't knock out Chavez. Chavez is, it's underrated defense. He would have his chin tucked in. The speed of Pacquiao is not going to overwhelm him. He's seen speed before, like a Meldrick Taylor. So, what about this one? What about Meldrick Taylor versus Pacquiao at 140? If you could keep up with those punches, like. So to put juice pack or regular. Well, like I said, if you think he was juiced, I don't know. The one that fought had him. That one, right? But the Pacquiao that fought Haddon, that's when he fought at 140. So versus Meldrick Taylor in his prime. Brasco put prime Morales would beat Marquez. Barrera was way past his best, and I thought he beat Marquez in that fight. Oh yeah, I remember that fight. I don't know. I thought Marquez won, but it was a close fight, though. It was a close fight. Bodywork puts Pac down. I agree. Mr. Dog, yeah, I don't think Pac hit much harder than the Black Mamba. I remember that. The Black Roger Mayweather, shout out. I remember, man, growing up, Every time Roger Mayweather fought, like they showed it on Mexican TV too. Like they always showed his fights. It was insane. Brilliant marketing. Brilliant. The Mexican Assassin. By the way, I never got why they called Pacquiao the Mexicutioner. I mean, it's he didn't have a good record against Mexicans. Like I never got that. Like like yeah, he beat Morales, but he got beat by him the first fight. He had a draw against Marquez. He arguably lost the other two fights. Then he, as we know later on, he got knocked out. Like the only Mexican that I could think of off the top of my head, there's still some others, but Barrera, that's about it. The Barrera Cutioner. I loved Pacquiao when he destroyed Barrera, by the way. I was the biggest Manny Pacquiao fan when he destroyed Barrera. I'll always be thankful, right? A lot of guys are saying Tater if he boxes. That's the problem, brother, says Doc. Blood's got Tater. Now you have that Philly gym, circuit heart, and mentality. The thing is, though, is that what got Tater in that Chavez fight was the body shots. Pacquiao is not like a body puncher, and also Pacquiao he fights at Tater's like distance, like he likes to fight at that same range, and I honestly believe Tater had faster hands, so he would beat Pacquiao to the punch. It would anyone who thinks he damaged him. I mean, he didn't damage Timothy Bradley, and I think Tater was way better than Timothy Bradley, to be honest. And Bradley had that, warrior thing in him too and stuff. It's I don't know. I think Tater wins that fight. I don't think he takes a beating in the fight at all, to be honest with you. I mean, Chavez was getting hit upstairs, but he was boom. He landed those hooks to the body. That's what got Tater. That's what did him in. In a 12-round span were the body shots. The Barrera Cutioner. Yeah, that's what it was. Hulk Hogan, Whitaker beat Chavez. Yeah, he did. Everybody knew. Like, everybody knew that Whitaker won the fight. Like everybody knew that. It's to this day, like, everybody knows it. It's funny, but it was I think they called it a draw, right? But the reason I'm saying that is because I was in a room filled with Chavez fans, and around the middle of the 9th round, the room was dead silent. It was silent. There was no like, come on, yeah, get him. Like it was silent. It was silent in the 11th. It was just nothing but silence. And everybody was ready to leave and shit. And then all of a sudden, they announced it was a draw. And I remember everybody was shocked. And then they were like, well, yeah, it's a draw. Like my uncles, like they knew it wasn't a draw. It's Whitaker won that fight. Mr. Doc, I don't think Tater beats Pac in toe-to-toe war, but I don't think Pac would ruin him, though, like Chavez either. Chief Funky 84. D-Style, who won the De La Hoya versus Trinidad fight, in your opinion? De La Hoya did. De La Hoya won the fight. If you go by the 10-point must system, he won the fight, Now, if you subscribe to the whole, he technically won, but I forgot who said this. He won, but he lost the right to complain when he quote-unquote ran, right? Because he did, I mean, obviously what he did in the last 4 rounds or 3.5 rounds was stupid, okay? But his corner was telling him to do it. But De La Hoya was giving Trinidad a boxing lesson those first 9 rounds. A boxing lesson. He was taking him to school. I mean, first of all, I never seen De La Hoya, like, his cross looked so good in that fight, right? His right hand looks so good. I mean, I never seen De La Hoya's right hand look so good. It's insane. His combinations were on point. It's boom, 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 boom. Like, he looked really good in there. Trinidad's blood was soaking down to his fucking trunks. You know, so on the scorecards, you could say it was close, but I thought De La Hoya won. Mr. Boxing today, Pac versus Taylor is a toss-up in my opinion. I think Pernell Schools Pac-Man. Yeah, I think Pernell Whitaker beats Pac-Man. Whitaker is better than Floyd, I think, is Hulk Hogan. It's close. Big fan of both. I'm a bigger fan of Whitaker, but I mean, I'm not gonna take anything away from Floyd. Chief Funk 84. I had Tito winning. All right. Trinidad versus Spence. Who you got at 147? Oh shit. Got to think about that one. I got to think about that one. I don't think I've seen enough of Spence to make that assessment yet. I don't know. Like it's one of those things, you know. Trinidad at 147 was a beast, man. I mean, you know, um, he fucked up dudes' eye sockets, you know. But Spence is no joke either. I'd go with Trinidad out of default. You know, it's hard to assess right now. It's really hard to assess. So, but Connor, bless your Connor is boxing ye. I don't know what that means. Connor is boxing, says Connor bless. All right. Okay, good for him. Hulk Hogan, De La Hoya was robbed twice. Yep. I thought De La Hoya won the second Mosley fight. I don't know what you guys think. I thought he won that fight. Yeah, that is a Trojan, yeah. I will show you Connor McGoat kills Floyd. Can discuss. All right. Tony versus Gennady Golovkin, says Man on Water. At 160? James Tony. I mean, I got to go with Tony, but it's interesting. But I'll go with Tony. You know, is it me or like Conor McGregor fans so out of place, man? Like they're just so out of place. You know, it's just so out of place. It's insane. Um, what do you guys think? Vladimir Klitschko versus Rocky Marciano. Who is that fight? I want to before I give you my answer. I want to know what you guys think. Connor, bless. Tell me how does Floyd avoid that left? He ain't seen nothing. Like really? Did he spell nothing the way Connor says nothing? Like Connor, man. All right. Mr. Boxing today, Tyson versus Tony Jones Jr. around 2002, 2003. Oh. Man. First of all, Tyson versus Roy Jones at that time would have been such a big fight. That would have been a record pay-per-view setting fight, but I gotta go with Tyson. Yeah, he wasn't the same Tyson anymore, but could these guys really survive those first 4 rounds? I mean, especially the first round. I don't know. Like it's, I know Tony like ended up beating Holyfield, and that's a big deal. I get that, but styles make fights, man. I don't know if they could take those punches. You know, I don't know their frames are made for that. So I'll go with Tyson. People say Klitschko. I agree. I believe Klitschko wins too. There's some old heads that get mad when you say that, but hey, Mr. Doc at 160, I got Golovkin versus G-Man. At 168, Charlene versus McClellan's way. All right, G Funky DStyle De La Hoya beat Felix Sturm. No, he did not. Connor Bless says, I see you don't want to debate. Me. Floyd will do and be 3 rounds. All right. He'll be done in 3 rounds. All right, Connor Bless. Get a life, bro. Okay, man in water. Tony beats Tyson easy. Well, it could happen. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm trying to. What do you know? Like, Tyson's gonna hit him in that first round. Like, it's gonna happen. So it's. I don't know. All right, bro. We'll mark your words. All right, they're marked. I don't know how to block people, so it is what it is. Did that work? I don't know. All right. Well, guys, it is getting late, so I'll take a couple more questions, maybe some fantasy matchups. What about something random here? What about Floyd Patterson versus Joe Louis? Floyd Patterson versus Joe Louis. How would Joe Frazier fare today's cruiserweight division? He'd destroy him. Fight like at that pace, and you know, it just he destroyed them. I mean, there's no doubt. Somebody says I never seen either one. Okay, Tyson versus Wilder or Joshua. What's Tyson? So when people tell me Tyson, I need you to tell me specifically what's Tyson. Joe Louis sparks Floyd Patterson. Think so? I mean, Floyd Patterson was. I know he got just because he got sparked by Sonny Liston, but I mean, you know, I think I don't know. I don't know if he sparks him. Floyd got them brittle hands and peanut head soys. He's a Melcher with 2 eyes. Okay. Mr. Doc, more brutally than Liston if that's possible. Well, I mean, he got knocked out early against Liston. How much worse can he get? But yeah, I got Lewis winning, but I think it's a tough fight, though. I don't think it's as easy as people think. Floyd Patterson was really, really good. I mean, I think Floyd Patterson gets a bad rap because of what happened in the Liston fights, but I mean, he was a good heavyweight, man. He was a good fighter overall, you know. Most overrated boxer of all time. Floyd Patterson? Really? Overrated? Am I getting it right? Oh, okay. Who's the most overrated fighter of all time? Man, I'm gonna piss off. Well, I was gonna say someone, but I'll take that back. Cause probably Rocky Marciano. I think. I mean, look, I have nothing against Rocky Marciano. I mean, he was a man of his era and all that, but it's where people rate him sometimes. It's kind of ridiculous to me. But probably Rocky Marciano. I'm not saying he's terrible or bad. I mean, the question is overrated. So, Mr. Doc, just my opinion. I wasn't laughing at you posing the question. Well, it's all good. A lot of people have high. I mean, you know, Joe Louis is great to me, man. So, what about? I'm trying to think. What about Tommy Morrison in his prime versus Anthony Joshua right now? Who wins that fight? So to put Marciano be a cruiserweight today, I agree. Rocky didn't fight anyone with a winning record until about his 40th fight as Man on Water. Yeah. Chief Funk 84 says Tommy Gunn. Manny Waters says AJ. Morrison couldn't pass a drug test. Well, that's right, huh? Like it's like I guess they would do the drug testing. So some will argue if you drug test him, maybe he won't go that far. So damn, more Mr. Doc says Morrison versus Joshua right now. That's a tough one. I think that's a badass fight. Like I think that's a fucking war, to be honest with you. Have y'all seen Morrison's son? He has a son? Is he boxing or something? Tommy Morrison, man. So I want to think about one more random matchup here. Thinking. I don't want it to be one like an obvious one. I don't want. I want it to be like a random, you know. So I'm thinking. Still thinking. Morrison Joshua would be hellacious, says Mr. Doc. I agree. His son is 13-0 with 13 KOs. Just looked it up. Wow. Well, there you go. Have you kicked the guy while he is down to somebody? Okay. Mr. Boxing today, which one? He has two sons at heavyweight. Trey is the better one of the two. Is he good though, or is he just another Chavez Jr.? Like that's like I'm always very skeptical of the sons, you know, but I don't know. Somebody has a hand injury at the moment. All right. Mr. Boxing today, come on. I want to know. Morrison in his prime versus Anthony Joshua right now. Who would win? In your opinion? Indonesia or USA? I don't know what you mean, bro. I have no idea what that means. Like, I'm okay. I'm trying to think of a good one before I go. Come on, dude. Serious. I want to debate. Debate what, bro? You want to debate that Connor's going to win because he has ferocity and he's unorthodox and he's going to do unbelievable things and that Floyd's never seen nothing like him. And when he punches Floyd, he's going to punch him so hard, mate, that when he hits him, even through the gloves, he's going to rattle his brains and he's going to go down. Right? Something like that. Chavez versus Duran at 135. I got Duran. Got to go with Duran. It's a tough one, but Mr. Boxing today has AJ versus Morrison. All right. I tend to agree with that, but I think it's a fucking war though. All right, so there you go. I'm being asked, how does Floyd get in Connor's reach? Now, even though I know the guy's trolling, I'll answer it anyway. Well, first of all, he only has a 2-inch reach advantage. That's number one. I mean that's it's a reach advantage, but it's not like he has to like work himself in or something, right? The problem isn't trying to get through the reach of Connor. The problem is when Connor throws and misses. Okay, those long limbs, when he throws that punch, he's got to bring that punch back. Okay, it's got to. When Connor throws that left, he leans with it. He's got to bring that punch back. right? It may only seem like a fraction of a second, but that's all Floyd needs. And, he's going to be open, and then that's it. Connor's got to throw, and when he throws, he's going to be open every single time. Prime De La Hoya versus Prime Chavez at what weight? Like 140 or something like that? Because 147 is definitely not a Prime Chavez. So I believe De La Hoya is Prime at 147. But Prime for Prime, got to go with Chavez. You got to go with Chavez. Fernando Vargas versus Canelo Alvarez at 154. I got to go with Canelo. Somebody said, but he's long. Well, that's my point. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for tonight. Okay, it's getting late, and I got to work tomorrow. So, thanks to everybody that joined me. All right, and it's been a blast. All right, this is DStyleBoxing. I'm out. Peace.